Before we begin, thank you very much to Joe T for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you for the help to continue this channel and keep it afloat and keep me doing daily content for everybody. And thank you for giving me a normal shout-out name. I do like the silly names, and I know you guys love to get on a roll about making me do really silly shout-outs at the start of the videos. The next one is extra. The next shout out I do is going to be very extra. I'm giving you a fair warning right now, just so everyone can brace yourselves, because I have to brace myself for it too. But that's next time. Today we are doing something a little bit weird. So, when they did the activate your alt mode thing, I took all of the potential cast that we might have gotten instead of Shockwave, and then I took all the potential alternate modes that they were going to provide, and we did these 2 wheel spins, and I just kind of tested myself to decide how would it have turned out if other combinations had won. And it was kind of a fun little improv experiment, so now I'm going to see if I can get away with doing it as an occasional format on this channel. So, for the Wheel of Alt modes, today we are going simple. We are starting at the beginning with the 84 Autobot cast. And I've mostly picked cars and trucks. I've tried to avoid anything that would be already a little bit out there. I want to get to like basic style characters and then throw wild stuff at them for what their alt modes would be. Well, and it's up to the wheel to decide that. So on the character wheel, we have Jazz, Cliffjumper, Brawn, Huffer, Hound, Sunstreaker, Trailbreaker, Mirage, Sideswipe, Wheeljack, Ratchet, and Ironhide. And then if we take a look over at the potentials for the alt modes, we're not using the one from the actual fan vote. We have done our own here. So this could be a land creature, an air creature, a water creature, or a prehistoric creature. The other ones, if I'm stuck, I might make something prehistoric, but prehistoric creature means it has to be something fossilized. We also have ancient vehicle, just in case, along with space vehicle, air vehicle, water vehicle, and land vehicle. Weapon is on there, device is on there, just so we can throw the other 2 typical things from Transformers into the list. So, I did a test run of this before. The only reason I didn't post that as an episode is because for some reason it recorded in 360p. I don't know why. You might see that on the Patreon as an exclusive video soon. I might just throw it up there. But for now, we're going to try it this way. In my practice of this, it wasn't as random as I thought it would be. It literally like kept doing the same combinations. So we'll see how this goes. We'll start with our very first wheel spin of the day. Seeing it wants to go right back to Jazz, which we were just on. Out of 12 options, you think it would land on someone besides Jazz. But that's fine. That's fine. Let's see what we have to turn Jazz into. Yeah, Jazz as a space vehicle. That actually does seem pretty easy, actually. I can't work his abilities in because they are sound-based and sound doesn't travel in space, which makes this just a little bit difficult. I feel like Jazz's vehicle mode, he is a race car on Earth, meaning he does have to be something fast. I don't think it's necessarily like something fitted for combat. He would be some kind of like space fighter style ship, but it'd be something that would be geared closer to speed rather than firepower. He wouldn't be defenseless though. Like I would save like speedster vehicle modes, like space vehicles that are simply about speed, like like one-man hyper ships. I would save that for the likes of like Sunstreaker, Mirage, the faster of the Autobots. Jazz should still be able to fend himself off. So he would be closer to like an X-Wing in styling. Not literally an X-Wing, but like that's where my brain goes as far as like where Jazz ends up as a spaceship. So that's how this kind of goes. I have to give both wheels a spin, and whatever they land on is what we have to make a vote. And be glad I muted this because there's this really annoying tick, 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 tick noise. See, again, that's 3 times it landed on Jazz. I'm going to ignore this one. We're going to spin it again. We need to get variety up in here. We can't just keep landing on Jazz. So we got Sideswipe. All right, we already spun the other wheel, so what does he have to turn into? A device. Okay, what kind of device does a Sideswipe turn into? See, this is where things get really, really hard. Like, device is, like, in the terms of Decepticons, kind of easy. Like, they like stuff that they can use for surveillance. What do I do for Sideswipe that would actually make actually work like this? The only thing that works in my head would probably be like some kind of jackhammer tool. Because that's the one ability he actually got to show off more than once in G1, was his ability to dig. So it would have to be something akin to like a jackhammer. Maybe not simply like the one you hold, though you could. But even like just like a stationary one. Like one of the big heavy duty ones that you have to roll around to places. That's about as close as I can come. Like, it's not like he doesn't strike me as like a PC or a smartphone or anything. I'm going by his power set. You will find that the reason I have for justifying why these characters are the things that I turn them into will change periodically. Sometimes I will go with their overall design. Sometimes I'll go with their personality. Sometimes I'll go with their power set. So, yeah, it's basically whatever I want at the time. Sorry. If you were expecting consistency, why'd you come to this channel? I'm kidding. Okay, Ratchet. What's Ratchet have to turn into? Ratchet has to turn into a land creature. Ratchet has to turn into a land creature. Oh my god. Okay, so, oh my god, I had a thought in my head. I thought I had a thought in my head. Give me 1 second. I have to this. Oh no, it just popped in my head. Popped in my head again. My head went to Saint Bernard. My head went to Saint Bernard because olden days, that was the breed of dog they used to help in rescue. You'd see it in like old, like, like Looney Tunes era cartoons. If you ever saw any of those, it'd be like the dog that has like the rescue barrel attached to their collar. It's in that vein. Somewhere in that vein, because there's not a whole lot of animals that literally come to your rescue. Beyond that, if I was to decide something besides just function, it'd probably be like a polar bear, because I figure Ironhide would end up being some kind of brown bear, just to kind of play off of each other. So yeah, like some kind of polar bear, big, heavy, white furred, so fitting of, a van, fitting of a big Autobot. Okay, so I give you 2 options there. I give you 2 options. So this is what I mean. One is based on his power set. The other one is based on his physical form. We got Jazz again. Like I said, it really likes Jazz today. Jazz is a land creature. So I did spin this again. I did spin that again. Like I said, the wheel likes to land on the same stuff sometimes. One is Jazz as a land creature. Obviously I can't go by color scheme because, obviously. It has to be something, okay, like this is where I'm starting to think he might be like a husky. Because now I'm going with his sonic abilities. Now I'm going with his sound abilities. And if I think white land animals that are noisy, I think of huskies. There's a lot that could fit that vein. There's a lot of very loud animals because a lot of animals have adapted loud noises as defensive mechanisms. I think the husky fits though. I backtracked Saint Bernard on Ratchet because I realized it's silly and there's a better option. But if we can get away with like Wolfang and Canine in Beast Wars, I think I can pick a dog breed. I think a dog breed is on the table here. Okay, so we got that one out of the way. If it lands on land creature again, we might respin that because sometimes this does get stuck. Cliffjumper. Okay. Okay. Cliffjumper as a weapon. I feel like Cliffjumper already is something of a weapon. He is loose cannon of the Autobots. And that's pretty much the answer. That's pretty much the answer I would give here. If you're going to turn Cliffjumper into a weapon, it does have to be his bazooka, doesn't it? Like, it absolutely has to be. You don't have any other option. Like, you don't. You literally don't. It's got to be his bazooka. The thing he used in one episode, but it kicked off the war on Earth. So it's kind of a pivotal thing. You couldn't get it, you couldn't make it big enough for like an actual size. Like, you couldn't make it this big. You couldn't make it 1-to-1 scale for a human. So unfortunately, as a toy, it might be impossible, but yeah, I think you would have to do it that way. I think that's the only one that works. All right, what else you got for me? Wheel of Morality, turn, turn, turn. Oh, I was hoping it would land on Trailbreaker. Oh, I was hoping it would land on Trailbreaker because Trailbreaker gives us really good choices. Trailbreaker takes some imagination. Mirage. Mirage as an ancient vehicle. Oh boy. Huh. So it's got to be, so per my own rules, it has to be something old. And there's not a lot of ancient vehicles known for being fast. So my thoughts would be some kind of like small horse and carriage, not like, not like a covered wagon, like an old west, but like something more medieval European, something that'd be just like a horse and a cart that like a trader would have. That kind of, that kind of thing. Something that could be quick and something that could be fast in a scrape. The other one I thought of, and this is literally impossible, and it's historically inaccurate, would be the kite that ninjas flew. Which one wouldn't give you much to transform into. That doesn't give you a whole lot of... A kite doesn't give you a whole lot of mass to work with. We've done a transforming skateboard, so I suppose it's possible. We've done a transforming tablet, so I suppose it's possible. But historically inaccurate, ninjas didn't use kites like that. Not in combat. And you also just... That's silly. No, I think the single horse cart is probably the closest I'm going to get on that one. And you can kind of work Mirage stuff into that too, because like who knows what he's trading in, right? Like this guy could be smuggling anything. Okay, spin that one again, and then give the character wheel a spin and see who we must select now. I think it wants to do Sideswipe again. Fine, we shall do Sideswipe again. As a prehistoric creature. Okay. Okay. So, now you would think this could lend toward dinosaur. And, Sideswipe as dinosaur, I mean, that kind of tracks. We could do something with that. Part of me would see like an Ankylosaurus just going off the Sideswipe name. You'd still get like the pounding that he's known for from the Tail Club, and it's a creature that I could see either like red-skinned or yellow-skinned if you want to go with like Sunstreaker as a direct brother. In fact, there are other types of Ankylos from the same family that have different arrangements of spikes. They kind of look like super Ankies, where like they've grown far larger spikes out of their shells. And you could do that to even emulate Sunstreaker's customizations and his like exposed engine and all that. The weird thing is, I was actually going to change this and go with like a Similodon instead, which would be like a saber-toothed tiger but bigger. But because I could see them with like darker red fur or light yellow fur, and that would get your like sports car speed mixed in. But the more I think about the Ankylosaurus take on Sideswipe, the more it makes sense, and the more you could do physically to make the changes for Sunstreaker. The alt mode definitely doesn't work for Sunstreaker. I'll give you that. But there's also Ankylos who do not have the club tail. So you could kind of blend the two together or find a species that has like more spikes, less club. And that would give you, again, something that feels like they are brothers, but is also a little bit more in character for Sunstreaker, a little bit more in character for and power based for Sideswipe. I like that now that I think about it. Now that I think about it. Okay, so hey, I've got more. Hey, I've got my nomination for an Ankylosaurus in Transformers. Let's go. Okay, so see, I know what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to Google like ankylosaurs after I'm done with this, so I can find the one that would be Sunstreaker. All right, we got Trailbreaker. We got Trailbreaker. What's Trailbreaker gonna be? Trailbreaker is also an ancient vehicle. Trailbreaker is also an ancient vehicle. See, this one, the original one, the first one I chose was like a normal like horse and cart. This one would be more like an ox, and maybe not like an ox and cart, but more along the lines of almost more like a farming tool, like when they were used as beasts of burden to plow fields, like more along those lines of like an ox with like a drawn like a drawn like a tool that they drag along. And I'm seeing that tool as some way of like extending like the camper on the back of his pickup truck mode, almost to kind of emulate that in a sense of like the attachment that goes along with said alt mode. Toy wise, this actually would present some pretty cool stuff. Like you got the plow that it would be dragging, but you could transform the plow into a weapon platform that fit on his back, or you could have that as like where his accessories spring out from when he goes into robot mode. That could be cool. The ox in general just kind of suits his big Hulk nature, you know, like that big, you know, kind of gritty, kind of rough around the edges type character that he pursues. That feels correct to me. That feels correct. So yeah, let's say like a beast of burden. Let's say like a beast of burden for Trailbreaker. And also the name Trailbreaker. Like if he's dragging something that is literally cutting trails, I don't think I can get a better choice than that. Okay, keep going, keep going. I want to do Brawn. We'll do Brawn now. Okay, Brawn. Brawn has possibilities because he's like the super strong of the Autobots. And he also gets to be a prehistoric creature. We're getting a lot. We're getting a few of these now. Okay, okay. I feel like he is a far more simple fit, right? It really is just about what dinosaur would he be. You know, we've already gone with an Ankylosaurus. I can't, which like strength-wise would work, but defensively, an Ankylo is so much more defensive. Brawn died because he got shot in the collarbone. I don't think I can call him defensive. But he's physically powerful. He is physically powerful, but he's also on the small side, so I can't call him like a T-Rex or anything. I think the first thing I thought of to just kind of replicate like a big heavy truck that he transforms into would be some kind of like Ceratops. Maybe not necessarily a Triceratops. Um, maybe something a little bit more something more subdued. Oh, why can't I think of the names right now? I am not I am not Red Claw. I can't pull dinosaur types out of my head at will. The one in my head right now is like the variant where it's like there's only the one horn on the nose. There's no like big horns up here. It's just the plate and like a lot of little horns coming out the top. Yeah, we had a Beast Wars Neo toy of it. It's like escaping me the animal type. Oh, that's bugging me now. Oh, that's bugging me. Someone in the comment section is gonna throw it at me, and I'm just gonna hate myself for not being able to come up with it at the. Jeez. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, though. Basically, it's a Triceratops without all the horns. It's basically what I'm trying to get at. Okay, we're at the 20-minute mark, but this is amusing to me. I want to see what we can get for a couple extra spins, and this is where I will just start spinning until I come up with something that I think sounds fun. Okay, so we've already done Trailbreaker and Ancient Vehicle. See, this is where I worry about this not being completely random, because it's 11 options here, 12 options here, and yet we just got a duplicate of both. That's like over 1 in 100 odds of that happening, and I don't like that. I don't like that can happen. Like, that doesn't feel like it's random at all. And it wants to do Trailbreaker again. See? Twice in a row. Twice in a row, Trailbreaker, Ancient Vehicle. No. No. This is not nearly as random as people think. I refuse to believe it hit that so many times in a row. Okay, Mirage. All right, we'll do Mirage. And we'll do Mirage as an air creature. Okay. So, in my brain, I'm thinking that it's got to be some kind of like, oh man, it's got to be something like a peregrine falcon, which, you know, you're going with like super fast flying animals, something around that nature. Definitely a predatory bird. Definitely a predatory bird. Something designed to swoop in, be fast, and more importantly, not be noticed until it's too late. Like, that's the kind of vibe you want for, like, you know, a Mirage as a bird, essentially. So that's about where I'm getting. I will say a peregrine falcon, just because it needs to be something very, very fast. It needs to be a good hunter. So we'll make that a quick and easy one, and then we can go into another spin. I'm going to see if I can get in a one, maybe two more, depending on what comes up. Okay, Wheeljack we haven't done. Wheeljack we haven't done. Wheeljack as an air creature. What do you do with Wheeljack as an air creature? Geez, like in my I'm trying to think if there's like any kind of like inventive bird, or any kind of bird that like suits this specifically. There are, like, air creatures do not just mean birds, by the way. We could pick a species of bat. We could pick a flying insect. Really, for future reference, we should probably just add some, like, bug as one of the options. You know, I will have to choose them as bugs. But for now, let's see. Something in my head is almost wanting to make him like a hornet or a wasp, specifically because they are builders. You know, I'm trying to go by the character aspect on this one, because I don't think I can pick a flying creature that's like white with green and red with like white and green, green and red racing stripes. I don't think that's in the picture here. So in my head, I'm picturing more like, yeah, I'm picturing more like a hornet or a wasp that can actually construct and build. It's not the best, but, you know, like that said, I can get his like little translucent little wings he has in robot mode. We can make them insectoid. We can make those insect wings and give the bug mode that same texture that those little winglets have. That would work. That would actually physically work. Okay, one more. I'll make this video a little bit long so we can do one more, and I want an interesting one. We might re-roll this until we get something fun. I would love for Ironhide to come up, someone we haven't done. We haven't done Huffer or Hound. Okay. We can go with Huffer. What's Huffer going to be? Huffer is going to be a land creature. And I hate to make this anticlimactic, but I could think of this one already, because I'll be honest, the little trial run I did that didn't record properly, I got a Huffer and he got turned into something else, but I was like lamenting, like, why didn't Huffer get turned into a land animal? Because I've got an ideal choice already. And the ideal choice is an armadillo. It is small, It is armored, you know, because Huffer is known as one of the stronger of the Autobots, but again, he's a little bit more like, since he's like a mini like work truck, he's a lot more durable than like Brawn, who's like more of an off-road truck. So you have a nice shape that works. You have the coloring that works, because we can make him orange. Yeah, and it generally just kind of like, I feel like fits in with his like crabby attitude. It's like, there's just something like appropriate, or like I feel like as an armadillo, Huffer would spend time in beast mode, and like every time he just gets grumpy and pessimistic about something, he just roll into a ball and grumble to himself. Also, I'm feeling like the shell of the armadillo would be like a perfect way of conveying that hood that goes over his head in robot mode. That feels perfect to me. That alone feels like you could wrap that design up really well that way. Okay, I think we can leave it there. Yeah, so this is just like a weird little improv game of sorts, and we can do this with whatever we want. We could do this with Beast Wars characters, and I can switch everything over to vehicles to do that. I could just make everything on the wheel animals, and then just put a bunch of like high-end Transformer characters on the other side. We can do the 86 cast, we can do Japanese casts, we can do movie casts. There's a lot of things we can play around here. If you like the format, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to continue doing these like weird little improv wheel videos, because this is kind of fun. I like challenging my brain like this. So I will leave it to you to decide if we do more. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.